I think this invitation was actually extended to me before I started my current role. So thank you for still asking me to come here, even though I'm no longer with a gigantic behemoth company, and now I'm just with a wee little startup based in Tampon, Quebec, which is in Canada. You know, it's kind of interesting. I do this a lot, and I do love to do it. One of my favorite things to do is to stand up, to deliver some remarks, try to say something inspiring, try to learn from those other panelists and folks that speak, and get the opportunity to meet a lot of new, interesting, diverse people. And I came in here today very clear that I wanted to sit here and really just spend a few minutes about the circular economy and the importance of collaboration in order to move the circular economy forward. But after sitting here for the last number of hours listening to the incredible and inspiring stories from so many people, there are a couple of other thoughts that came to mind. So I just wanted to start with this, and then I'll go into circular economy, and I'll keep it brief. So first, I am very much of the opinion that the time for small moves is over. We do not live in an era where you can make incremental change anymore. Incremental change is why we now have the Sustainable Development Goals as opposed to having reached the Millennium Development Goals. That to me is a major shift. And that is a shift of mindset. There have been major step changes in history, and we have to start repeating those more and more and more often. It also made me think about the role of government, the role of business, and the role of NGOs, if you will. When I think about the role of business, the role of government is there to really protect and move forward the ability of a community to thrive and prosper, to protect the environment, to protect the natural and social capital that each of us depends on in order to live, to grow, and to experience. Businesses were then founded to make up for this gap where governments, in a sense, or if you can call it that, weren't providing. Governments became an entity that provided services as barter and exchange, and they were the services and goods that people needed in order to live and to thrive. And then we have NGOs, which play an exceptionally unique role in that equation. They fill the gap between the business and between government in many cases, sometimes informing both through collaboration, public-private partnerships, through individual action, or through direct activism in media. All of these things and all of these pieces are so important, so it's incredibly important for them all to work together. So my name is Nelcon Switzer, and I work at a small company out of Quebec in Canada. We're called Loop Industries. And what we do is, our goal is to close the loop on plastic, quite simply. For more than 20 years, I have worked in sustainability, corporate responsibility, and community investment. My last role was as the Chief Sustainability Officer for Nestle Waters. I was also the head of sustainability for Nestle globally. It was a very, very interesting and unique role, but I realized that I've spent the last 20 plus years advising companies, helping them make step changes, and advising NGOs and helping them make step changes. But what I hadn't done is I hadn't offered something that actually could make a big shift. And so now that's why I decided to move to Loop Industries. And what we do is we take waste plastic, principally PET and polyester, which make up about 40% of all plastic waste. We take that material and we break it down chemically into its two base monomers. We purify it, we put it back together. We do this because our goal is to decouple fossil fuels from the plastic economy. That is no longer needing fossil fuels to create plastic. There is no need, because we have produced more than we need at this point. So rather than continuing to allow it to go to landfill, failing to recycle it, or allowing it to unfortunately end up in our rivers, oceans, and natural areas, our goal is to divert all that material. And we cannot do it alone. While we are using a commercial solution to do it, we are looking for partners in the NGO world and government as well, to ensure we have the right infrastructure, to ensure that we have the right motivation, the right compulsion as a society to ensure that this material is returned, recovered, and kept within the loop. Circular economy, 20 some odd years ago when I was in school, I had a professor who told me about industrial ecology. Industrial ecology then became sustainability. Sustainability is now being called circular economy. You ask other companies, they'll tell you it's the purpose economy. It depends who you're talking to. But to me, we're talking about a fundamental principle, which is an economy that restores the natural environment and creates more value than it destroys. Excuse me. We have a responsibility to leave this place as the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts might, which is better than as we found it. So I'll stop there because I unfortunately have to run to catch my plane. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the conference. Take care.